Awesome. Thank you, Shannon. So welcome everyone. Thanks for taking the time to join us tonight for the placement information session. This is an exciting time as we transition into the new league year, and we are excited to share the placement offerings available for the 2021-2022 league year, as well as we'll talk more about the placement matching process. Before we begin, it's always nice to center ourselves with the mission of the Junior League. So I'm going to take a moment to read that now. The Junior League of Boston is an organization of women committed to promoting volunteerism, developing the potential of women, and improving communities through the effective action and leadership of trained volunteers. Its purpose is exclusively educational and charitable. Okay, so today, just a high-level agenda before we get started. So I'm going to run through a few introductions, then I will go through an overview of the placement offerings for next year, as well as talk more about the placement catalog. We'll then review the placement matching tool. We'll go over kind of a little tutorial of how to use it. And then we'll just talk a little bit more about what to expect and then the timeline for placement matching for this year. One thing to note is we will have time at the end for questions and answers, so you can feel free to save them. You can also pop them into the chat. I do have it up. I have a lot on my screen though, so if I don't see it, I will get to it at the end of the presentation. And then of course, you can always feel free to reach out to the placement inbox if you have any questions or you just don't feel like asking them tonight. Okay, so introductions. My name is Colleen. I am the current Vice President of Placement. And then we also have Amanda Alonzo on with us tonight, and she is the Vice President of Placement elect. Amanda will be assuming the role of VP of Placement on July 1st, which is upcoming very soon on Thursday. And then I also believe we have Sarah Manigo on tonight, who is the Vice President of Placement elect. So come 7/1, she will be stepping into Amanda's role as the elect for the 2021-2022 league year. So before we kind of deep dive into the placements that are available for this year, I just wanted to give a quick overview of placements in general and the placement matching process. We might have a few incoming new members on with us tonight, so I just wanted to take a pause to do this. So just so that we're all on the same page, all active, new, and transfer members are able to hold up to one placement during the league year. And it is this placement is the mechanism by which you will achieve your placement points requirement for the league year. We assign placements through an open placement matching period. And this is the only opportunity that you have to be matched to a placement. You will hold the placement for the entirety of the 2021-2022 league year. We'll talk more about the deadlines and the placement matching tool later in the presentation. But as long as you do submit the placement matching tool and rank your top choices by the deadline, we will do our best. We promise that we will match you to one of your top 3 selections. Should you not be able to complete the tool or you just choose not to, we will match you to a roster that has openings for the next year. Of course, we understand that there are circumstances that may arise that would prevent you from hitting or submitting by the deadline. So if you do have any concerns, you have a big vacation, you're moving, there's something, do please reach out to the placement team. The email is included at the end of this presentation. Overall, I just want to impress upon you that it is our goal to match you with a placement that fits your needs. We want you to have a good experience. So if you ever have any questions or concerns, please reach out to us. We're always here and we're happy to talk with you. So on the next slides, I'll provide a high-level overview of the placements that will be available for next year. Given that this is a virtual forum, I wanted to keep it as efficient as possible. So it's limited information in terms of what the placements are for next year. As I said, and I'll talk a little bit more about, there is a placement catalog that will be available on Thursday at the latest, but I'm hopeful tomorrow or Wednesday. And this really gives a deep dive into full descriptions of what the placements are. It talks more about the job descriptions and the specific details of what you'll be doing if you are in that placement. And it also talks about when the committee meetings might take place, where they might take place, and then just other details that would be helpful for you to know. So all that information does live somewhere, and we will share it with you. So moving forward, as we think about the placements for next year, there are some that we consider, there are some that we consider to be internal, and then there are some that we consider to be external. So when we think about what would be an internal placement, this is something where the primary goal of the placement is really handling league-specific activities. In tandem to that, we also have the external placements that might have either a community partner or you're really kind of out interacting with the community on behalf of the league. So for the most part, the external placements are considered our community placements, which we'll detail on the next slide. But there are also some, such as membership, recruitment, and outreach, that have a little bit of a hybrid in terms of internal league activities and then externally facing as you work to recruit new members. So for next year, we have 23 placements that are available. So working with the board of directors, we have the Secretary's Council, Major Donor Committee, and Advocacy Committee. Within fund development, we have Charity Gala Committee, Signature Events, Major Events, Products Committee, and then Sponsorship and Grants Committee. Some of you who have been in the league for a number of years may note that within fund development, the Products Committee and then Sponsorship and Grants are a little bit of a different iteration to the placements that we've had previously, building out some of those responsibilities, and I think they'll be great placements to hold for next year. As we look, as I said, into our external placements, so these are our community placements. For next year, we will have our Community Service Council, which supports the work of all of our community placements. We will have Community Service Grant Committee. We will have JL Boston Arts. A new community placement for next year is College Application and Achievement Mentorship Program, or CAMP, as we refer to it. We have we have Jeremiah Program, we have Learning Circles Blue Hills, we have JL Boston STEM, and then we have Kids in the Kitchen. Again, for those of you who have been with the league for a number of years, you may note that Learning Circles Charlestown is on hold for next year, but we do have a number of wonderful community offerings in place of it. Again, as we think about more internal facing placements, so we'll have working with Amanda and Sarah, we will have the Placement Council. With membership, we will have Social Events Committee, we will have Recruitment and Outreach, and then we will have with training, the Training Council. And then lastly, we will have Finance, the Finance Council, and then Communications and Technology Council. These are great because finance is working on a high level, thinking about working with the treasurer and with the board. And then comms and tech is working with the executive management team overall to think about strategy. So both are really exciting offerings for next year. So again, I wanted to take an opportunity to talk a little bit more about the placement catalog. So again, this will be available on the JL Boston homepage. So when you log in, once placement matching is live, that will live there. It's very heavily detailed. So pretty much any question you may have about wanting to know more about specific placements is answered there. As I said, it talks about what the overall time commitment will be for certain placements. It will talk more about the types of activities that typically take place. Specifically, if you would have ownership over certain projects or you would be expected to work independently, or if you would be doing team-based projects. It also will detail, like I said, the time and place of committee meetings. And then again, to underscore, obviously, we're still kind of ramping up our in-person activities. So we expect that placements will ramp up in the same fashion as the league overall does. But of course, when we think about our community placements and our community partners, we will go with them in terms of what their comfort level is and what any protocols they have in place are. So now I'm going to talk about the placement matching tool. So we still consider this to be new, though it was launched last year. So some of you may have had experience going through this process last year, but for others, this may be brand new. So last year, in partnership with the Association of Junior Leagues International, we launched a new placement matching tool. So it's very nice, it's interactive, and it gives you an opportunity to go into the system to fill out a little bit of information about yourself, your availability, your interests, and then it will match you to placements that it thinks are a good fit for you based on how we've inputted them into the system. It's a really great tool. That being said, if you already, you've been a member of the league for a few years, if you know what placements you are interested in, there are ways to just sort generally instead of kind of utilizing the tool. But I do encourage everyone to at least try the tool at first and to go through it because it might recommend something that you haven't previously considered. So for this, like I said, we're in year 2. The goal really is that this is a streamlined process. The catalog and the tool all live within the AJLI database. So you will log in with your AJLI account in order to access. It's a very user-friendly tool, and it helps us to garner insights into the skills and competencies that both our members already possess, and then also skills and competencies where people might want to build upon. So this can inform our future placements looking ahead. And it really enables us to help place members in an intentional and meaningful way. And it really helps us to be equitable when we think about, you're going to have a little bit more than 2 weeks to fill out the tool. And so as long as you fill it out by that point, you will be put forward into one of your top 3 choices. And then, of course, so the Placement Council also oversees the appointed leadership process. And so some of the data that we're able to collect as part of this matching tool helps us to identify future leaders in the league as well. And one thing to note is that last year, in our first year of the tool, 95% of members who completed the survey on time were matched to their first choice placement. So that's really the goal, is to connect folks to their top choice. And then should we not be able to connect you to your top, we want to connect you to a placement that is of interest to you and that you are excited about. And just here are a few of the skills and competencies that are part of the survey and the drop down. So you'll see, but you'll have an opportunity to both talk more about the skills you already possess and would maybe like to expand upon, as well as kind of identifying skills and competencies that maybe you don't have experience with and that you would want to build skills in during your placement. One thing to underscore is that there certainly is no expectation that you have experience or that you have mastery in any of the skills. We really are a training league. And so I encourage you to take on a placement that maybe is new to you because you really might enjoy it. So now I'm just going to talk about kind of the placement matching tool and what to expect when you log into the system. I am going to attempt to unshare my screen and play this video demo. though I know historically Zoom does not like this. So we will see if this works.
Excuse me, Colleen. I'm so sorry. I can't hear anything. I don't know if anyone else can. Not hear anything.
No, I'm sorry.
Did you click share computer sound by chance when you shared your screen?
Let me double check. Is that better?
No, I'm sorry. I did not hear anything either. So it was like more background.
Be required to have a one-on-one interview, be able to.
Oh, there it is. I hear it.
Okay. So you can hear it now?
Yes.
Well, when I played it.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll start it again. And thank you all for bearing with me. I'm Zoom challenged. So let's try this.
Hello, and welcome to the Placement Matching Tool. The Placement Matching Tool matches members to placements based on their desired learning paths and availability. The Placement Matching Tool is designed for all leagues working on the Digital Cheetah or Member Essentials platforms. What you will see today is a demonstration of the steps a member will go through to complete the placement process in the Placement Matching Tool. So let's begin. This is the welcome page that the member will see when placement is open, and they have clicked on the distributed link. The member will go through a 6-step process. As the members progress, each of these steps will check off. A member can exit after completing any step and her work will save. However, if she exits during a step before hitting submit, her work for that step will not be saved. Let's go through the 6 steps. Step 1 is the annual commitment. The annual commitment is a compact, and it states what the member will agree to in her placement year, such as the mission and what time she feels that she can realistically dedicate to her placement this year. In step 2, the member will self-select the skills and competencies she possesses and/or wants to develop or give back this year. Step 3 is completing a short online interview. It determines where her interest lies and provides feedback for the league. Depending on what year of placement matching a member is in, the questions will differ in this section to better gauge member engagement, satisfaction, and civic leadership development. At the bottom of the page, you will see a one-on-one interview section. You might be required to have a one-on-one interview, be able to select if you would like a one-on-one interview, or not have the option of a one-on-one interview, depending on what your league has enabled. In step 4, the member will review placement recommendations. The tool will give the member a list of recommended placements that are meaningful to the member based off of the member's hourly selection, skills and competencies, and availability. You will see the matching criteria highlighted. In this screen, the member can also search the whole catalog, and make her selections this way. In step 5, the member will rank her placement selections by dragging and dropping. In step 6, the member will submit her selections. This completes the placement matching tool for the member, and her selections will now go to the league. Thank you for completing this demo with AJLI today. For more information, please email your league's placement committee or AJLI at placementmatching@ajli.org.
Okay, thank you, everyone. And thank you extra for bearing with me through that video. So we're going to continue now, where I'm just going to give a little bit more detail about the placement matching tool and how it relates to our league specifically. So a few things to note. As you noticed, you will be prompted when you first log into the system to make a quote annual commitment. So this is just an opportunity for you to really reflect on the Junior League and its mission, and just to think intentionally about how you are able to engage with the league for the next year. At this stage, you will be asked to input a placement hours commitment. So overall, our placement points are determined by the membership, executive management leaders, and are standardized across the league. That being said, we did kind of tease out a little bit the hours commitment for certain placements. And so for our league, our placements are tiered either into a 10 to 19 hour per year commitment or a 20 to 29 hour per year commitment. So you will only have those two options to choose from when you're utilizing the placement matching tool. Again, as detailed, you will have an opportunity to select skills and competencies, both that you either already possess or that you would like to gain more skill sets in. I really underscore the importance of taking some time and being reflectful on this. Your input and the data that you share is helpful for us to learn more about our membership and to think critically about the placements that we are offering. And it will also help to connect you to the most relevant placement for your needs and your interests. Next, you will have the opportunity, as I said, to review the placement recommendations. So here you will note on the left side bar, there is an opportunity for you to either select or to deselect only show recommended placements. So it could be a situation where you go through and maybe there are 6 recommendations based on what you've inputted during the survey. But maybe one that you have your heart set on didn't populate, and that's totally fine. If you go over to the left-hand side and you deselect only show recommended placements, all placements will appear. So that's a really good kind of workaround if you've been in the league for a number of years, or you really kind of have your heart set on a certain number of placements. You can utilize this by unchecking the box and all placements will appear. Again, when you are viewing both the catalog and then when you're in the placement matching tool, as they have very similar usability, again, on the left, there is an opportunity where you can just kind of filter. So maybe you just want to see all weekend placements or placements that meet on the weekends. So you would be able to select that and those would populate for you. So again, this is just another tool to help you to filter. Again, these are all representative in our screen shares from AGLI. So as you do see here, chair opportunities will not be included in our catalog or in our placement matching tool. And so lastly, for our league, you will rank your top 3 choices. And as I said, if you complete the tool by the deadline, you are guaranteed to match to one of your top 3 choices. If you do not hit the deadline, either because you choose not to submit, please don't, please submit. Or, if there's an extenuating circumstance, please reach out. It's always our goal to match you to a placement that you want to be placed in. But we do reserve the right, if you haven't submitted by the deadline, to match you to an open roster. And again, this one other thing just to kind of underscore is after you rank by kind of clicking and dragging, as was demonstrated in the video, you do need to make sure that you advance on to step 6, where you'll see a screen very similar to this with the 2021-2022 league year, your hours commitment, and then your rankings. You do need to advance to this and then hit submit. Otherwise, your choices will just be left there and we won't be able to match you. So overall, that's really kind of it in terms of the placement matching tool. It's easier, it's more streamlined, it's much more user friendly, and it takes a lot of work to put together. So I really encourage you to utilize it, to really read through it. And I hope that it's helpful for you as you think about your selections for next year. So now I'm just going to give an overview of the timeline and the dates for the placement matching period this year. So today, obviously, is the placement information session. We are expecting to launch the placement matching tool on July 1st, and we will leave it open for active transfers and new members until Sunday at the end of the day on July 18th. This will go out via a league-wide email on Thursday the 1st. You will also be able to access it directly on your member homepage. And this would not apply to anyone here, but as new members and transfers continue to join JL Boston, we will work with them directly. So if there are any appointed leaders or EMT on this call now, you can always connect them with us and we will find them a placement based on openings and then also their interests. And like I said, after July 18th, it will really be rolling only for those new members and transfers. Again, if there's an extenuating circumstance, please reach out and let us know. But otherwise, if you do not complete the placement matching tool by July 18th, we will match you to an open roster for next year. And the best way to stay apprised of these timelines, of course, is via email, through the buzz. You can see it on social media, and then, of course, on your member homepage. So that concludes the presentation portion of tonight. So I'm going to stop sharing. If anyone has any questions, if you want to drop them in the chat, or you can raise your hand. I'm happy to answer them now, as I'm sure Amanda is as well. Of course, if you have any questions or specifics, you can always reach out to the placement email. I'm on it all the time. Amanda's also super, super responsive. So I'm sure we can answer any of your questions. But overall, I really encourage you just to take some time to review the catalog and to really just be thoughtful and set aside some time when you do go through the tool, just to make sure that you're getting matched to the best placement for you. I do see, Alexa, your question, so the part about the hours. So overall, the membership requirement is the same for all members in terms of the placement hours for the league year. Some of the placements just are a little bit more time intensive than others. And so in an effort to kind of, make that known to members, we've quote tiered or kind of split placements for the purposes of placement matching into 2 groups. So those that are kind of 10 to 19 hours for the year, or 20 to 29 hours for the year. One thing, again, that I want to underscore with this is, if you are someone that wants to put 50 hours in the year towards volunteering and being active with the league, you will always have an opportunity to do that no matter what placement you are in. So it's not to say that, the expectation, if you choose a placement that's tagged as 10 to 19 hours, is only that you will do 10 to 19 hours. We just wanted to kind of have a way to separate them a little bit, just to demonstrate how, there's tons of hours, tons and tons of opportunities, where others, maybe a community placement who is a little bit more bounded by the community partner, there might be some additional limitations just to how many members we can have at a certain session. And so that's just how we've tiered those hours. But again, the membership requirements in terms of your placement hours is standard for next year. And of course, if you do want to take on more, there's always opportunity for additional volunteering. Is both the catalog available placements on Digital Cheetah? Yes. So when you log in, they aren't there yet, but they will be. I'm waiting. I have one last pass on the catalog that I'm hoping I'll be able to make tomorrow. And then it will be available for everyone. Will it be divided by 20 placement hours, 10? So like I said, so the overall membership commitment is the same. It's standard for everyone. It's just in terms of, there are certain placements where we're a little bit more bounded. So for instance, if there is a community placement where we can only send 15 women every Saturday, we need to make sure that every woman who is placed on that placement has the opportunity to go to as many sessions as they need to in order to hit their placement point goal for the year. So that's kind of why we tier some of them, just to kind of set expectation. You will have no problem having opportunity to meet your placement goal within either placement, whether it's tagged as a 10 to 19 hour or a 20 to 29 hour. But overall, it does not change your membership commitment. You're still bounded to the same placement points goal as everyone is across the league. I hope that helps. Are there any other questions, comments, concerns, feedback? Again, I really thank you guys for bearing with me with the video. Definitely not my expertise. Okay, well, if there aren't any other questions, again, the email is placement@jlboston.org. I'm always on it. Amanda's super fast to respond. We're here for you. So please reach out with any questions, any concerns, and we look forward to matching you. Like I said, so it will open on Thursday. Look out for the league-wide email. You'll have until the 18th. And then we're hopeful that we'll have placement matching out in early August, as most placements kick off either in August, mid-August, or in September as we start the new year. All right, well, I will wrap this up. The recording is available, and then in addition to the catalog, there will also be a tutorial for you to use as you go through placement matching for you to reference. So you should be all set. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you.
And thanks, Colleen and Amanda, for all your hard work.
Thank you.
Of course. Thanks.